This could be us. So back to what I was saying. Could be us.
All right, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mind, Body, and Laughter podcast.
With Tanya and Herm.
And we're back.
Houses.
Yeah, we're sorry about last week, but we're back on it this week. So we got you. We got you. We're back in full effect. So how are you, Tanya? And yes, we're in separate houses. So how are you?
I'm good.
We had a nice 3 weeks of just having help around the house and just having someone there.
You're extremely helpful. And doting. So I don't really have to think or do a whole lot.
Well, that's great.
And
how's the little pup doing? I know,
he's on a hunger strike.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why he's not eating. Is it typical when they get older, they don't want to eat the food anymore?
I don't know. I think maybe when you made those meals for him, he just kind of got like, this is what I want. You don't go back. You don't have me stuff. Like, I don't want this no more. You done gave me the good stuff.
Yeah. That's certainly
that could play a part.
Okay.
So guys, today we ran across something interesting. You know how we always, that Ocho and that Shannon Sharp, they always have some crazy stuff coming up. But this particular one was actually very interesting because Steph Curry's wife made a comment of the marriage comes before the kids. So basically, she was saying that a happy couple will take better care of the kids. And what was crazy about it is when you saw the comment section and you saw, like, it was really, this one of a few times was really split down the middle. You had people saying the kids should come first. You have to say they agree with the couples coming first, but it was just so fiery instead of everybody.
When they say coming first, what are they talking about? Can't there be a balance?
For instance, she's saying that the husband, like for instance, in her case, the husband is the priority. Like, he wants to make sure their relationship is solid.
That makes sense. You have to make sure that because when the kids are long gone, you're going to be looking at your husband like, I don't even know this person. But there has to be a balance. I know in my household, my father worked all day. He was served first. Now, if she's talking about that, I'm pretty sure if she wants to serve her husband first, her kids are not going to die, not getting served first. But making the relationship priority, making sure you have date nights, maybe having alone time. If the kids are, sleeping in your bed, maybe a couple nights don't have them sleep in the bed. Listen, there has to be a balance. I'm not here to judge anybody or tell anyone how to run their household, but I have to agree with her. You have to make your husband the priority.
Right, because then I get it. Kids are important and, you have to be, but at the same time, if you two are feuding, how well is the situation with the kids going if they're seeing the parents not getting along? So I agree with that to an extent. And I get the side of the other people who saying we got to prioritize kids, raising your kids. I get it, but I tend to agree more with the taking care of the relationship shot. Not to say you neglect your kids. We're not going to say that. We're not going to say you neglect your kids.
And it also depends on how old the kids are. If it's a newborn, of course, they're going to require a whole lot more time, but then a 16-year-old will also require a lot of time because they have sports, they have activities, but there has to be a balance.
Right.
So if he's talking about, serving her husband first, or that's not a big deal. If you have to have date nights, you have to connect with your husband because there's going to be a day when them kids are going to be gone. What you going to do? You're going to be looking at your husband like, I don't even know them. What's the percentage of marriages that don't make it after they're empty nesters? Some people look forward to it. Having empty nesters, being empty nesters, to be able to enjoy their husbands. or spouse. Other ones are like, I can't wait for me to be rid of these kids so I can go. So
keep going, because
you
I'm
looking up the
actually
statistics.
yeah.
Okay. In the meantime, I had to get off of Facebook. I had to get off. I had to take a break from Facebook because the toxicity that was going on, and it's always gone on, right? But the level of disrespect coming from certain people, I just don't really understand it. You know, I don't understand.
Because even if you go down into that situation where we were just talking about, we're going down into the comments, how people, they weren't able to express their opinion without trying to downgrade or insult the other side. It just, I don't understand it at all. Like, you can have different opinions.
So people were talking about the blackout, right?
Mhm.
On Friday, not doing any shopping, supporting small businesses, which was a lot of what that's not it. A lot of people were complaining about during the pandemic. The big box stores were still open, but the small businesses had to close. So I got into a little, I don't know, back and forth with something. No, it wasn't a back and forth, because he said he didn't understand what was going on. And he did, but people put things on Facebook to kind of, do some grandstanding and get everybody to start talking. But he said, I don't understand. I mean, this is multiple conversations with other people. I'm reading the thread. This country was built on hard work, and he's going on. So I interjected and I said, listen, I don't usually say anything, but I was kind of triggered by this comment that, the country was built on the backs of my ancestors, right? Boy, when I say they came at me talking about, their family came from slaves, and these are, and not that they didn't, but you're missing the whole point. And then he makes a comment, I defended you running for the Board of Ed. I defended your honor. I said, well, again, I didn't really say anything. I just read the comment because I just totally got off of social media. You didn't have to defend my honor, because what they were saying was incorrect about me, and you knew that. So you weren't defending my honor. You were saying what was true. So I decided to just give myself a break, because anytime I'm feel like I need to argue with somebody on social media, we got a problem. So I got off of it. Because you can't really, people our age, they are set in their ways. You can't educate stupid, and you can't reason with them. And they don't understand the facts. But I'm reading a good book called First Lady, regarding Eleanor Roosevelt and Mary McLeod Bethune. And the similarities on today and back then, what people are fighting for, are very similar.
Yeah, it hasn't really changed a great deal. A lot of the same discussions are coming full circle again. Just it'll seem like it might get a little bit better for a little while, but then it'll take about 2 or 3 steps back. But,
right. And it was so fascinating is Eleanor Roosevelt was a Democrat, but Mary McLeod Bethune was a Republican. But we're talking, and people want to say, oh, well, you guys were Republicans back in the day. But, we're talking about the Southern Democrats and the differences, and Franklin Roosevelt and the New Deal, and Lincoln being a Republican. It's just so fascinating. And people just need to read more.
Yeah, because there was a lot more Republicans back then, but the parties were different back then as well. Right. So a lot of their ideas and views changed over the years. And, and so you can use the past as an example, but at the same time, you really can't, because things change. You have to apply what we're doing today. And it's basically about common human decency. If you come up with common human decency, then a lot of policies won't be what they are. Right.
So Dr. Bethune was talking about the importance of, the anti-lynching bill. I mean, to actually have to have a bill. And President Roosevelt did not want to really sign on to this bill, because he figured he would lose the millions of other voters.
Mm-hmm.
So Eleanor Roosevelt really pushed, and Mary McLeod Bethune was just so intentional in her work and how she was able to get Blacks into positions in the White House, same as we're doing today. You know, they don't want to just be there. They want to make a difference. I mean, it's just fascinating, which of course I go down a hole. I'm looking up the history of Roosevelt, the history of Eleanor Roosevelt, the history of Mary McLeod Bethune, and how she founded the NCNW, which I am a proud member of, the National Council of Negro Women. And she was a Delta. Yeah, so it's just so interesting, but people need to read.
Now they're going to read what they want to read. We've been doing this for a long time already. So that's why when you put messages out, I put messages out for who it resonates with. It's not going to get everybody. Sometimes it's just not going to get a lot of people at all. But if it gets a couple, 1, 2, 3, that's the start. You get a few people, right. Then they pass to a person or two, and they pass first two, then it'll get around. But we can't stop giving the messages. We can't stop doing what we're doing, right. Just because
we still have to push forward.
Right. So it's not just reach where
I was talking to him, and talking about all the federal layoffs, mm-hmm. and how that's going to trickle down to the economy. But people are saying, oh, saving lots of money, letting go of these federal employees. But if you lose jobs, then they're going to what? They're going to apply for unemployment, and they're not going to do as much shopping because they can't afford it. So all this is going to affect the economy.
Well, it's always been, now I won't say always been, but it always should have been known that a strong workforce is always going to be good for the economy, because if everyone's working, they're going to spend money. Right. So so you can't look at it like that, because anytime you see firing jobs, because my thing is, if it's evenly spread.
Well, it's not responsible, right? It's not responsible. So you have somebody for
months grabbing all the money.
Right. Well, it's not responsible. And I mean, listen, I'm all for fraud, abuse, and waste, but there's a way to do it. And there's no way that you're telling me that in a month and a half, they found all this waste.
Oh, but they already knew. No, they already knew. It was always been there. It's just a matter of no one wanting to pull that trigger. So, I mean, they already know what's wasted, what's not, what money is going where. They already know all this. It's just a matter of making it say, okay, who are we going to cut out? That's been right. They knew. Yeah. So that's nothing right. At all. Yeah. They just going to do what they want to do. And they're going to try to make it where they're helping everyone. And as long as they get their majority to agree with them, they're going to keep doing it. Things aren't going to change until we're able to look at our own.
Things aren't going to change until people and starts affecting them.
Yeah. And then by then it'd be too late though.
Right. So. Right. So did you find the statistics?
Yes. So
and what are the statistics?
Yeah. So the percentage of marriages that in the divorce after they're empty nesters, it says about around 40%.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. That's a lot, because now you're figuring, because you don't have that. I don't want to say excuse, so let me not say that word. You don't have that reasoning of everything is for the kids. I do this for the kids. I do this for the kids, while you're not spending time with your spouse. Now you're forced to spend time with your spouse. So obviously there's something that's been going on before the kids, or while you had during the kids. So now you have to be almost forced to deal with that situation now because the kids are gone.
Right.
So that shows that relationship wasn't that strong. The kids was the thing that kept them together all these years. So
yeah.
And then another thing that was in the comments that I found kind of, I don't want to say interesting, but they brought up. So if there's a situation, because they was talking about who should be first, if there's a situation where, it's God forbid it shouldn't be this way, but the father is sick or one of the kids is sick, and you only can take one, who should you take? I was like, damn, why would y'all put a situation like that? Since you want to bring the kids first, or you want to bring the parents first, which one should be first? I mean, I have my answer for it, but I want to see what yours would be.
What's the question?
You pretty much could only take one. In your case, say the father or the kid, or it would be in my case, the wife.
Well, I'm gonna take the kid. The kid is a kid.
So I'm going to give you just that. Some of the answers that I was hearing. They were saying the parent would be the priority because they're the ones that have the insurance. They would be the ones that you need to take care of, say kid. But me, I'm still going kid because the parent, I think, has a better chance of, because they don't know. He doesn't know. So the parent have more of a mentality to be able to fight a little better.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that.
That one I would go.
You agree with that? You agree with that?
Huh?
You agree with that?
I just said
you agree with that?
I said I would take the kid first because the parent has a stronger chance of fighting.
Okay, yeah, all right.
But I did understand where they were coming from, though. But I just I happen to go with the other side. See, I can hear stuff that I don't agree with, and then like look at it and hear it and see it, even if I don't agree with it. I don't like just mix it off because I don't agree with it. That's not the way I do it. But I don't have to agree with it for me to hear it and try to understand it. And I think that's one of the issues we have a lot nowadays is that no one tries to understand the other person's side.
Well, so I am someone that can certainly see someone else's side if it makes sense. And
it makes sense.
I'm not to me, it has to make sense to me.
Right. If it has to make sense to you.
I can listen and not judge. In my head, I'm probably saying you're a dummy. And then I'm also looking. What?
You might not judge them, but still judge it.
In my head, I said you're a dummy. I'm not saying you're a dummy out loud.
You're still judging, though.
In my head, I'm not saying it out loud.
We're avid people's meditation and thoughts and how thoughts can go out to the universe. Don't do that.
So they can tell I'm calling them a dummy?
Huh?
They can tell I'm calling them a dummy?
They might not be able to tell, but you can tell. You call them a dummy. That's the important thing. Who cares what they think about us? Just what you.
And then sometimes I look at people, and while they're on social media, acting like they're experts, I'm like, I'm pretty sure you don't read anything. You get your information from one source. You're not very smart. So, and then I look at them and I'm like, you weren't smart in school, so why am I listening to you now?
I'm not gonna do that because some people weren't built for that school system, and then they become smarter later. But just listening to what they say could tell you all you need to know most of the time. So,
right, and yeah, if you can't put two words a sentence on paper, or when I'm talking to you, then I don't know. I'm not gonna really pay attention to you. But I am going back to the social media. I'm not confrontational. So I'm not going to go back and forth. So I just get off of social media. And I think that's served me best. It's unfortunate because I need it for work,
but it shouldn't be them push you off. You can easily go in and just not look at that stuff and block that out.
So, right. So I didn't delete it. I deactivated it. So that will take me out of habit. Because this time I'll go on and I'm like, oh, I don't have it.
You can block that certain thread where it's not showing up on your timeline. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you can do that too. But there's also something on Facebook that you can limit your time on there also.
Yeah,
right.
You can do all that without deactivating your account. I'm not going to let nobody force me off.
Well, no. I didn't delete it. I just deactivated it for a week. Right, but I mean that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, it is. If you need a break from social media sometime, please.
Right.
I do it all the time. I don't deactivate the account. I just don't go on it. Yeah, I just don't deactivate it, but I don't go on it. I go off weeks. Sometimes not go on it because sometimes it could just be. Social media can be, even though I'm not a depressed person, it can depress you, or it can just, it's too negative.
I don't say it depresses me, but I will say that it's more like It
I didn't
agitates
say
me.
depress me. I said it can depress you, or it can
Right.
be.
Well, I know what you said, but I'm saying for me, I don't get depressed. I just get annoyed and aggravated because again, I'm gonna make a comment and then I'm not gonna go back and forth. So I see people going back and forth and they get a high out of it. You know, what do they call them? The keyboard bullies. So
Keyboard warriors, keyboard, whatever the hell they call them. Internet gangsters, you know.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
so
yeah, it was good.
What's the weather there in Georgia?
It's actually in the 60s today, so it actually cooled off a little bit. It was in the 70s actually. I even went to the beach yesterday and sat out. There was a lot of people out there. I recorded a workout that I still have to post, but it's a real nice day out. A lot of people were out running around. Wasn't a whole lot of people in the water though, but they were out on the beach. And then as I was leaving, I was like, all right, time to go home. And then I saw all these cars at the pier area. I was like, what's going on out here? So I said, went over, pulled over, actually ended up luckily found a nice parking spot. We're walking around till I saw all these booths in the back and they were having a whole little chili cook-off. And it was actually.
Did you go last year?
No. Last year I saw something. They had different events. That was some like articles. They were selling clothes and trinkets and stones and all that kind of stuff that one last year. But this, I never saw this before.
Did it smell good?
Oh yeah, no, it smelled good, looked good. And you know, people were, and then I ended up running to a couple of people from one of the restaurants I go to, and they had the beef and they had chicken chili, which was kind of cool, but I don't eat either, so I didn't try it. But you know, but it was actually pretty good. People were raving about certain ones. And then I ended up stopping by, got my fish sandwich, and then went home. Because I ended up seeing my guy out there, big fella, Big Mike. So it was cool. Nice little impromptu day. So
very nice.
I'd like to thank you guys for joining in again on another episode of the Mind, Body, and Laughter Podcast with
Tanya and Herm. And remember, for Wellness Wednesday, sometimes you just have to shut that social media off for an hour, a week, a month.
At least give yourself like at least once a month. If you can do a 24-hour, but if you can do a weekend, even better. But at least do a 24-hour fast from social media at least once a week.
And rest in peace to Angie Stone.
To who?
Angie Stone.
Oh, I didn't know she passed. Get out of here.
You didn't go on any social media yesterday, huh?
No, I did not. The last person I saw was Gene Hackman, which was a weird situation.
Yeah, she passed away in a car accident, unfortunately.
Oh,
Heading
wow.
to the CIAA.
Oh, man. Wow.
Yep, she was going to perform.
Perform, right? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, no, I did not hear that.
So rest in peace.
Actually, absolutely. Rest in peace, Angie Stone. And guys, like, subscribe if you're new. Keep the comments coming. And again, always, if you have any
something else to say.
Okay, well, if you have to, you can ask after that. And if you have any topics that you want us to discuss, feel free to shoot them in the inbox or in the comment section. Go ahead, Ty.
March is International Women's Month, and I always want to promote health and wellness for the month of March. If you can guess how Herm and I met, I will be sending you all a wellness box. If you can guess how we met, because we've talked about it, and in this wellness box, you have a candle, tea, loose tea infuser, and a rose quartz crystal. And that'll all go in this. Right. Well, how are they going to cheat?
No going back to try to find the episode. We're only going to let it. We're going to only for Wednesday. By Thursday, we picking the win on Thursday.
The first person to guess how Herm and I met will get a box donated from Tranquil Skin and Wellness Moments in Scotch Plains, where she does my facials.
And guess what? I will be the one to pick the winner because Tanya don't really remember how we met to get together. So I'll handle that for you guys. How you gonna answer when you don't even know? So I got you.
I don't know how we met, bruh.
I mean,
All right. All right. We can talk offline about this. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great day.
Have a good one.
This could be us. So back to what I was saying. Could be us.